Hello, hello! Welcome to the next episode. Today we're gonna talk about a lance. Lance is a very useful piece, but it might be tricky to use, so today let's learn some tactics with it. It's gonna be important for our joseki lesson next week as well. So the first proverb that we have with the lance is lance on the lower ranks has more power. So here is the example. We have two dragons looking at the enemy core. And we have a lance in hand. We would like to attack with it. If we drop it here, sure, it helps our dragon to attack. But let's consider this square instead. If you put lance on this square, it has actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares it can affect. Compared to this one, 1, 2. So speaking of piece activity, this lance is much better. But here, it also adds an additional trouble to our opponent. It actually will block the enemy dragon. So this lance, even though it may seem like it's a singular piece doing nothing, here it does those two powerful things. Yeah, so always drop the lance on the back rank if it's possible. Now second proverb will be, when you have a lance in hand, look to drop it behind a pawn. So I set up here a Yagura castle and we will try to attack Yagura. If they ignore it, we're gonna take this vanguard pawn, pretending to drop the lance next, right? Very painful thing to happen. So naturally they will try to take it. And now we've created a space for our lance to drop it behind the pawn. And please notice that they cannot drop a pawn because it will be Nifu. So the lance behind the pawn is really good shape as your opponent cannot block it using a pawn. Now let's look at this example. We also have Yagura here. This time we have a rook looking into enemy castle. And you would think this is a great move because it will allow our lance to promote and then the rook to promote as well. But actually there is a better move, and it is to use the lance as an enabler and to promote our rook instead. So the lance supports the dragon, yeah, you cannot really protect it, yeah, the king alone here cannot protect it. The rook will be much powerful promoted piece and the lance can follow up later. How about forks using lance? Well, it's something that beginners forget sometimes. Even those two powerful pieces, bishop and the rook, seemingly covering their weak points. But actually, they're really weak to a lance drop. Yeah, if the bishop moves, the rook will die. If the rook moves, the bishop will die. So this lance drop is famously painful. So please remember, if your opponent have a lance, please avoid this shape, yeah? On the other hand, if your opponent does it, try to get a lance. And next one, as you know from our positional judgment video, lance is quite weak piece. So usually blocking it requires the use of pawns. Any other piece, any other exchange kind of benefits us, right? So here we have an example where the rook is attacking on the 8th file and they have no piece in hand. If we drop the lance, sure, if they had a pawn, they can block us. But if they do not have that, this lance outpowers the rook and forces it to move away, giving us control over this file. It's a useful technique to know. And finally, lance is a useful piece because once it promotes, it becomes a god, a much more powerful piece, right? But in this case, the king will run away, leaving us not really good follow-up. Perhaps we would have to sacrifice it to promote our rook, right? We have a better move, which is to take this pawn, but without promotion. If the king moves, then we can promote it here and create a space for our rook to promote. This way our lance is much more efficient. So it's a cool technique to know. As you guys know, the promotion in shogi is not forced unless it's the last square or the square that the piece cannot move anymore. So yeah, sometimes try to consider moving the lance unpromoted. So that's all for today. I will see you again tomorrow. Have a nice day. Bye bye.